Hey guys, Snubby Society here. I wanted to do another video on folding knives. Just some additional thoughts I was having and thought I might as well share with you guys. I think I'm going to continue a few more of these in the future. I think I might talk about just some different pros and cons of different styles of folding knives. Some of it's going to come up in today's video. That's kind of what made me think about it. Some of it kind of interacts with that, so if you're finding value in these, I appreciate that. Comment, like, share, discuss, practice. I hope they continue to add value to your daily lives and daily rotations. So what I wanted to talk about today was the traditional, in the US what we call traditional left-hand tip-up carry of the pocket knife. Like I've talked about before, so if you this is going to expand upon my previous videos, so if you haven't watched those, they're like under 5 minutes each. Go give them just a quick watch. It's going to expand upon some of this, or even watch them after this. But so that's going to be when traditionally, let's see, this is the right hand side of the pocket knife, this is the left hand. So I'll typically have the pocket clip on the left hand side and carry it in the right pocket. I do this. This is also something that Libre Knife Fighting also happens to do. I kind of started doing this of my own thing, and it kind of overlapped because I am a Libre practitioner. So it kind of ended up working with some of the things that we already use in the curriculum. So just a couple extra things here. So I've talked about the Emerson Wave and like the zip tie mods, quick deployment, as I call them, just quick deployment folders. I've talked about the flippers, the ones that have the tab, which right here, so flippers. Something else that I've demonstrated before in my feed, but haven't talked about quite yet, is flicking, is knife flicking. So being able to just flick it open without having to use the thumb stud, nothing's just in the wrist. Now, this is part of why I'm thinking about making some more videos about specific pros and cons of styles of folding knives. It's because trying to do this upward flick with this particular style, this is the frame lock. A frame lock or frame liner lock. So the liner lock is a piece of metal that will open up underneath the blade to prevent it from closing again. That's a liner lock because it's usually in the liner of the knife. This one is a frame lock, so it's integral with the whole back scale, really back everything. It's all a single piece here. And with these ones, where you're going to be putting your fingers, of course, if you put them too low, you're applying pressure directly onto the lock, which is putting friction on the blade, which is going to make it a lot harder to open. So that's what happens when I'm trying to flick up for a hammer grip, is the spots where my fingers go here actually is right on the lock where you don't want it, so you typically have to do it lower. So this is part of why I'm thinking about doing some additional things, but see, like, that's the closest I'll be able to do. There we go. So just a reason I'm thinking about doing some additional videos on a few other things. Might even do them later today. We will see what the future holds, but I digress. So, using the flicking, a good reason I still like using the left hand tip up for this is because, like other things you've talked about before, it works with the existing biomechanics. It actually, less is more. It does use a lot less motion. So, coming up, I can flick, and now I'm already ready to go. It doesn't sound like it's open. It did actually get it fully open, but even if it wasn't, this is where I can go at least with that first strike, get it to open up at least, and then proceed from there. So it's flicking with gravity instead of against it. Why create more work for yourself? When you've got that hammer, you've got this, you got to flick it up. So just like before, you're typically, especially with the frame lock design, you're going to be holding, your grasp is going to be a lot less than you really want it to be when you're under stress, and your fine motor skills are one of the first things that are gonna be depleted. So it can be done. Not saying it can't. Some knives are easier than others. And this is not even including automatic or assist, no switchblades, no spring. This is all talked about just manual open knives here. People will say, sure, you can draw and hammer and then flick with the thumb stud, but you're still having the same issue. You're trying to flick upward, fighting against gravity. If it doesn't open, just like Scott and I have said, you're going to be having it close on your digits instead of the meat. And even if you were to draw into ripcord, I don't want that closing on my thumb. That's not what I want in an altercation. So it creates less work for yourself. So, just an additional thought to have on another pro for why you would carry with the left hand tip up orientation, even if you're right-handed. Lastly, you could, for lefties, you could go with the standard right tip up and carry just the opposite way. But as a Libre practitioner, I typically train and have taught that even left-hand people will switch over to will switch the knife onto the right. That way you're not having to fight the your knife hand with their knife hand. That way you're mirrored, so it's a lot easier to manage. Just some little side tips there, but that's just something I was thinking about. This is an actual Benchmade triage. Don't have the clip there because I don't typically carry that in that way at all. This is usually 100%. This is a multi-tool. It's not usually the only knife. It's usually tucked in a pocket or in a bag. That's somewhere within reach of the car. But if I were to do the left, see, that's a lot easier than having to do that. It's almost like, especially depending on how, this is a nice heavy thick blade, so this whips a lot. Part of how flicking downwards so easy. And see, even if that did come to close on me, I'd much rather have that here. Here I can at least scoot forward. I can even do just a quick jolt and open it and then proceed. But so there's just some additional thoughts on why I prefer the clip on the left side of a folding knife. Even for non-defensive reasons, that's still just where I'll typically put it. Again, some multi-tools are exceptions, but that's just typically what I'll do. Anyways, I think that's the biggest points that I wanted to talk about on that, at least. I could talk about flicking, I could talk about different kinds of knives for way too long. So I may proceed with some more videos of a few different things. Just giving some perspective. If you're watching this, I appreciate you checking it out. Just a guy trying to gather and share knowledge I find value in, which is kind of one of my mottos. Many of you have heard me say before. Anyways, questions, comments, whatever, put them on the post. Have a good one.